Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
It's such a pleasure to have you here at Umoja Fine Arts. I'm Ian Grant, CEO and curator of Umoja Fine Arts, and happy MLK Day to everyone. We know today is a day on, not a day off, right? And so it's very, very key that we continue to celebrate MLK Day because of social justice and everything going on from the 60s to today, especially with voting rights, how they're changing the districts out. And it's just very key that we continue to teach our young individuals how important it is for us to get together with social justice issues. So therefore, today is our this year is our second annual MLK Day. And I see one of our artists that just came in, family of artists, Priscilla Pfeiffer, last year. Hi, Priscilla, played her artwork for this day. So this is a very, very key day for us. As I indicated, this is the second year that we are unveiling one of the art pieces, again, to celebrate social justice in America and all the different things that you see that's going on around the country. And right now we're in a COVID time period, so it's been some challenging times for some people, so we just thank you for coming out. My wife just stepped in, Tangi, so I'm going to ask her to come on unveiling and pass the mic over to Ty Rawls, who's going to unveil his work here today. But again, everyone knows MLK Day and how important it is, so we're not going to, beat you down with all the social justice issues and things like that, because you're out and you're here supporting, so we want to say thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for coming. Yes, we are here to celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King celebration, his birthday, everything that he's done. And we must keep all of his thoughts, all of his quotes, all of that in mind. Last night I was just looking at so many different quotes that he had, and we have to share this also with our kids. It's very key. We always said that Martin Luther King is not a day off, it's a day on. And so we do have to keep that in mind. There is still justice. Whether you're at the workplace, whether you're on the playground, whether you're at school, it's everywhere, and we must educate and we must talk to our children and make sure that they understand and they know. So it's just, and I don't say just for today, but we must go by Dr. Martin Luther King's, his thoughts, his feelings, his quotes every day, his lifestyle, not just today, but every day. So thanks for coming out.
And right before I introduce Ty, again, basically, how does Umoja Fine Arts fit into this picture? Our job is to capture history, and that's what we do. We capture history through art because we know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And subliminally, it really, really works on the mind when you see different pictures. So what we try to do is to make sure that we capture positive images so that you feel positive about who you are and whose you are. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Ty Rawls. So,
thank you, Ian.
you're welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is you might just wait for us. Just wait a second. Yeah. So I didn't prepare anything to say, but this is a very important day for me. I think for a lot of people. I think for Umoja, definitely. So I'm going to take a minute just to say a couple things about myself that are related to the painting and the day. So my father's black, my mother's white. So I've had to deal with both cultures my entire life. It's part of my existence. One of the first experiences I had growing up was moving into a new home. As a little boy, I was 4 years old. We moved into a white neighborhood, and I went to play outside in my front yard, my new front yard, like all kids do. And it didn't take long for a small crowd to form. And they started yelling at me and my brother to get out of the neighborhood. They started calling us, I'm gonna say the N-word instead of using the word. They started calling us the N-word, telling us to get out. And I never heard that before. I was 4 at the time. So I had to go inside to escape that and ask my white mother, because my father wasn't around, to circumstances, I won't get into right now. So I had to ask my mother, what is that? And I was 4. And here she is trying to explain to me what I'm going through. And obviously, it's a hard thing to explain to a child. So this was the beginning of my journey, and it didn't get easier after that. I lived in that neighborhood for 10 years. I ended up fighting a lot just because I was black. Walking through life in that neighborhood, I wouldn't get treated the same way as all the other kids around me. I was told I was different. I knew I was different. I'd look in the mirror, I could see I was different. But if I wanted to be the same, it wasn't gonna happen. As soon as I stepped outside, people remind me, paint what I paint, which is mostly about civil rights stuff, mostly about the black experience and what we deal with as a culture. It means a lot to me. It's what my spirit's about. It's what I care about. And especially right now, what's going on in the country with people trying to roll back time with voting rights. I paint these paintings with a lot of feeling and heart and emotion. And so that's what this is here. This is about our experience as a culture. And this painting I'm revealing is equality. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, beautiful.
So for me, people like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, anybody that was fighting for social justice, civil rights, Elijah Cumming, these people are my heroes. So that's why I spend so much time on this subject, because I don't think there is a subject that's more important right now. So I hope you all enjoy this. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you very, very much, Ty. That was very, very enlightening.
Yes.
And this is such beautiful work. We can tell
Yes.
you worked very, very hard. You put your
Wow.
heart, soul into this to capture
Yeah.
Martin. So both pieces that are being unveiled today, if anyone is interested in the artwork, please, without further ado, we're gonna bring Mr. Marcel. Thank you, Ty, very, very much. Without further ado, we're gonna bring up Mr. Marcel Stewart. Marcel is our gallery manager. Actually, his job is to digitize Umoja Fine Arts business. And so basically in the last 6 months, we've been working very, very hard to move our business globally. And we're doing that, and we're moving the bar. We've also just published a book that just came out that you can download free that tells you about the language of art so that you can understand art, collecting art, and building generational wealth. Because these jewels that's in our community right now is very, very important. And I'm gonna tell you that it's even gonna get more important. And people are gonna really, really learn about the arts coming up in the next year here, because they're gonna start making a Basquiat movie starting in September. And that's gonna, without further ado, we're gonna bring Mr. Marcel. Thank you, Ty, very, very much. Without further ado, we're gonna bring up Mr. Marcel Stewart. Marcel is our gallery manager. Actually, his job is to digitize Umoja Fine Arts business. And so basically in the last 6 months, we've been working very, very hard to move our business globally. And we're doing that, and we're moving the bar. We've also just published a book that just came out that you can download free that tells you about the language of art so that you can understand art, collecting art, and building generational wealth. Because these jewels that's in our community right now is very, very important. And I'm gonna tell you that it's even gonna get more important. And people are gonna really, really learn about the arts coming up in the next year here, because they're gonna start making a Basquiat movie starting in September. And that's gonna happen in American art. So what usually happens is, and what's happening right now already is, our jewels are starting to leave our community. We are business people, okay? Our job is to educate you first, give you the first opportunities, and then from there, we have to go with what the world is demanding, who's supporting our business day in, day out. So we don't want this to get to a level of what we saw in the sports industry. We no longer control our sports industry. We no longer control our music industry. We still have time to control this industry. But I'm afraid it's gonna get away from us. Because I'm gonna give you an example. A Basquiat sold for $19,000. In less than 5 years, it sold for 115 million to someone from Japan, from Asia. So the world is looking. They know our strength. A lot of times we don't know our own talent.
That's right.
We have to wait until they tell us that you're talented and that you have strength. And by that time comes, it's already too late. It's just like what you see happen here with gentrification in Detroit. You want to go downtown and try to buy something? You want to try to go in certain neighborhoods and try to buy something? You can't, and it's too late. So we're trying to tell you right now, you need to start building, you need to continue to start collecting. But this is the next area where the fastest growing segment in the entire art world. Now with that being said, I would like to introduce Mr. Marcel Stewart. He displayed a piece last year called Still Uncivil, and of course that piece is gone, so we're very happy about that. So he's displaying again for the second year in a row.
Okay.
Marcel Stewart, ladies and gentlemen.
All
The 100-year fight that we're still fighting, and that fight is for civil rights, for the fight for justice. And the 1900s, we witnessed so much injustice. It may have been in a different form, whether someone was unable to sit in a particular spot on a bus, whether someone had to physically fight a group of individuals. Now we see injustice where it's police brutality, or a government building getting rampaged. It's in a complete different fashion. So I would like to unveil my piece to you guys. It's titled 100-Year Fight. So in this piece, I created obviously the colors and also pictorials of what we witnessed in the 1900s, whether that had been Malcolm X, and some of their most, I would say, down moments where they were segregated against and discriminated against. And I went ahead and put markings on those pictures to show that someone was living at the time that I created this, because in all that we see today, we're still living in this fight. We still witness this fight. We are still a part of this fight. The main quote that I have in the middle of this painting, it says, "Freedom ain't free." That's one statement that I put in every piece that I created in this series. There's a total of 3 pieces in this series, this being the 3rd, and each piece has sold. And I'm grateful for that, not because the message will keep moving.
Very beautiful. Thank you very, very much, Marcel. So again, these are our 2 unveiling today for our social justice movement with MLK. Starting in about 15 minutes or so, we're gonna give you some time. We'll have wine out here, water, chips, whatever you like. But starting in about 15 or 20 minutes, we're gonna honor 2 of our top tier premium collectors. And then at 2:30, we're gonna honor another premium collectors, because it's very, very important that we honor our collectors, because they're the ones that keep us in business, that keeps the lights on, and keep the business going and flowing. So hopefully you will stay with us, you get a chance to talk with each other, talk about some of the issues you see going on around the country, and how to work together, and just get all the beautiful art here, and how we're capturing positive images for you, for your kids, so they can feel positive about who they are. So thank you very much, and we'll see you in about 15. Don't worry about that. Sharon, did you hear me? I said Sharon's not gonna give her seat up, so don't worry about her chair.
You look good.
All right, it's such an honor to have you here on MLK Day. MLK Day, where we're celebrating social justice. We want to be aware of police brutality. We want to be aware of voting rights issues and everything that's going on around the country. But right now, we just got through with the unveiling. So it's very, very key and important that we talk about Umoja Fine Arts as we go globally around the world. And you know, when you're making global moves or you're making national moves, you have to have individuals that's supporting your business. And that is very, very key and important, because you just can't do anything without monies. So today we want to honor Paul and Daphne. We just want to say, Paul and Daphne, in 2021, you are our premier art collectors. And we just want to say thank you for all your support. And we have a few items that Umoja Fine Arts would like to say thank you with. First of all, we have our book here that was just published over the holiday. It's called Umoja Fine Arts, The Language of Fine Arts. This is what we've been hearing in the marketplace. People want to know about the medium. They want to know about an original. They want to know about a serigraph. And, you know, I sold some nice paintings, and then they said, well, Ian, tell us about the paperweight. And I said, wow, this is real interesting. They want to know every fact, every detail, so they can be much more of an educated collector. Very hard over the holidays to develop this book and put it together. So this book right here is, Marcel's job is to digitize the business. And basically what he did here, this book is free as a download. If you go to our website, you can download it to your phone, your iPad, or whatever way you communicate free. But if you want a hard copy for your tabletop, they're $20 each. So Paul and Daphne, we do have a book for you today. This book is signed by Rosemary Summers, Priscilla Pfeiffer, Marcel Stewart, and Ty Rawls. This is our family of artists. So with that, I want to say thank you very, very much. Now, thank you. And we just thank you so much for supporting Umoja Fine Arts, because this way we can open the door tomorrow and even into next week.
I am so honored, and this is really unexpected. At least it was unexpected until Ian told us a couple of weeks ago. We started collecting, Paul and I, about 40 years ago. And we had children to raise, bills to pay, but we were able to buy art, especially from emerging artists, some of the people we'd never heard of before. But there were pieces that we really liked. There were a couple of gallerists who told us this is an investment that you should make in this particular artist, this particular piece. And without knowing a lot about art, we started. A lot of the art that we bought was bought on, if you want to call it, layaway. Yeah. You know, you pay some money down and you continue to pay until you pay it off. Now there were other pieces, as time passed and we had a few more bucks in our pockets, where we could buy something outright. I'm saying all this because this is a new day. There are artists right now, the Kerry James Marshalls of the world, the Arthur Binions, Ed Clark, Charles McGee, who are just now getting their due nationally and internationally. So they started, you know, in pretty humble circumstances, and unfortunately they had to be in their 70s or their 80s, even their 90s to be recognized. Emerging artists. Collect those who are already established if you can. But we didn't know that some of these people we were collecting were going to be famous. We didn't know that we were making a valuable investment, but it turns out to be the case. So I thank you so much for this honor, and this is special, especially because it's Martin Luther King Day, and he is to be honored always. Thank you.
Thank you.
See everyone out here. My name is Paul Daniel Curtis. I am, as well as my wife has stated, we really do appreciate people appreciating us. We appreciate this one aspect, that Umoja Gallery has come into a market and is creating an opportunity for folks basically to create and build generational wealth. We can be much more mature than our offspring, and we can bring our offspring along. Umoja is creating an opportunity for emerging artists who have incredible talent. We've got several folks in this audience who are extremely talented and are taking their art to a whole nother level of appreciation.
And actually, Harold has an office right here in this building. So I know it's probably tough for him. He used to be right next door, but he moved upstairs. And I would purposely put pieces on the floor when he would walk by. And he would call me and say, "Ian, that piece is so beautiful." And I said, "Okay, Harold, you can come in and take a look at it." So we want to thank Harold today, and just say, Harold, we've talked about MLK Day earlier, and about social justice and making sure we're teaching the younger kids about what's going on in our community. We talked about building generational wealth. We talked about the arts and using it as positive images so that we can feel positive about who we are as individuals. So all those things are very, very key. And of course, besides the social injustice, we talked about police brutality and just all the different things that are going on. But most importantly, let's talk a little bit now about Umoja Fine Arts, and as we make our move nationally and globally. And that's very, very important, because it's nice to get hugs and say you got beautiful art, but like anything else, in order to grow, it has to be fine. So important for us to honor the individuals that's helping to finance our business, so that Umoja Fine Arts can take a position around the world and throughout the country. And not only that, represent Detroit at the same time while we make this move. So Harold, we just want to say thank you today. As a collector in 2021, you're one of our 2 premium collectors that's helping to put Umoja Fine Arts on the map and helping to continue to put Detroit on the map as a place that's progressive with a lot of entrepreneurs and that's supporting small businesses like ours. That's key and important. So before I have you say a few words, I'm gonna have my wife say something.
Again, congratulations, Harold. And yes, you are missed from being right next door. For those of you who don't know, sometimes I do like to share what people do in case you may need the services. But Harold is, now you correct me if I'm saying it wrong, a psychologist,
Licensed professional counselor.
Okay, licensed professional counselor. And like Ian said, he's upstairs. And so yes, Harold has been collecting art, and just like they were saying earlier and what Daphne was saying, actually Harold kind of went that route. Started slowly, started collecting, and just kind of getting advanced and more. And I would hear Ian come home and say, you know, Harold, when I put by the window for him, he liked it, ended up getting it. So yes, so congratulations to you, Harold.
Thank you.
We have a few things for Harold, but I'm sure that Marcel would like to say thank you very much, and also Ty, because he's collected their work. So there are two of the still of the family artists that's here that he's collected their work.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you to Mr. Harold Love for the time spent in the gallery, you know, learning the art. I'm new here as the gallery manager, so just being able to interact with Harold on a day in, day out basis as he comes in as a new collector, and I kind of rub up on my, you know, gallery manager skills. I think we've been kind of working together hand in hand on that, and Harold was able to collect one of my pieces. So thank you.
Yeah.